Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, buenos dias, buenos noches, bienvenidos. My name is Vincenzo. Welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy, and welcome to this weekly recap, May 19th, 2024. So we're back. Thank you very much for joining me once again for another weekly recap. I hope my Spanish friends can appreciate that greeting. They've been hounding me for the weeks and weeks now. You've got to greet us in Spanish. You've got to greet us in Spanish. And of course, I mean, I'm Italian. That's why I thought I always start my videos with a little bit of Italian there. My fear is that now somebody is going to ask me to do it in German and Danish, etc., 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 and Japanese and Chinese. Anyway, we'll see. We'll take it one language at a time. Well, once again, thank you very much for joining me. We've got a big show for you again tonight. I'm going to try to keep it within that 1 hour limit, and hopefully I can do it. If not, please bear with me. There are timestamps. You just pick and choose what you think is important to you, or what you want to learn, or what you want to know about, and ignore the rest. It's up to you, of course. The beauty of YouTube is you can choose to listen or not listen or partially listen. So there you have it. Well, it's a beautiful day here in Montreal. As you can see, my golf shirt, I played some golf this morning. Finally, we're starting to get some weather. You know, I thought it was going to slow down. I thought the news would be slowing down a little bit, but you know, we're still in spring. And I guess the summer is yet to come. And you know what? Let's enjoy it while we can. Plenty of inks, plenty of journals, plenty of pens. It's fountain pen therapy, folks. So without any further ado, let's go to my first segment, Products in the News. Okay, so on the pen front, first of all, let's take a look at this Pen Chalet advertisement. And in this video, they're advertising the new mini penider, which I think is fabulous. It's a mini penider pen. I believe this is their first mini pen, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I haven't seen any others, but take a look at that. Very, very nice. So for those of you who are interested in pocket pens, well, Peniders come up with them, and they always have just a fabulous, fabulous product. Next on the list that I wanted to share with you is Mayora. This is the Stilo Stile site that, as you know, is one of my favorite sites. It's an Italian, European site, and Mayora has come out with replacement nibs. Now, look at this, 20 euros, which is roughly 20 US. But they've got some really, really nice nibs. I've got to tell you, take a look at those nibs. Isn't that fabulous? They've got 1.1 stubs. They've got all kinds. And they even have them in the gold colors. And I think the gold colored ones are even nicer, frankly. Let me just switch back here. Yeah, take a look at this nib. I think for $25, these are really nice. Take a look at that. What I don't know is whether they're Yowo nibs. It says, Mayora, the first gold-plated replacement nib unit, is engraved with a beautiful floral motif and fits all Mayora fountain pens that accept steel nibs. It also fits all pens that accept Yowo number 6 nib unit. It doesn't say that it is a Yowo nib. Now, is this just branded an engraved Mayora or not. I've sent a personal email to Nino Marino, the gentleman behind Mayora, Delta, and Nettuno, and I've asked him to respond to let me know if whether or not these are in-house nibs or not. And as soon as I get word, I will pass that on to you. So, but I think for 20 euros or 25 for this gold, these are just absolutely gorgeous nibs. What else have I got for you? Well, in Stilo Stile, I wanted to mention that 176 euros, this old stock new Delta Gallery pen is just fabulous. I've reviewed this pen and I will put it down in the description. I invite you to look for it. Delta Gallery. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous offering from Delta. It's one of their old styled Dolce Vita inspired pens for 176 euros. I think that's a great, great buy. On the Chinese front, I've got this new lemon MS3, I think they call it, or M3S. I'm just wondering whether or not it's worth the $91 Canadian. I've hesitated. I haven't pulled the trigger on this pen yet. They got some, nice offerings in terms of different nibs. They've got, the standard nibs. They got the blade nib and they got the long knife nib. And those lemon nibs are really, really nice. Some of us may not like all of this busyness on the barrel, but folks, they look really nice. $91 Canadian. Frankly, I think they're overpriced. I'm just going to wait for them to come back down to earth, so to speak. Next thing that I wanted to mention to you is the Majon P139. I've reviewed this pen. It's out, but everybody's been asking what happened to the number 8 size nib. Well, folks, as of this morning anyway, the number 8 size nibs appear to be back in stock. So for anyone who was waiting for the number 8 nib selection to be in stock, it's there now. So I suggest you take advantage of it. What else have I got? On the ink front, a couple of things. On Goldspot is advertising the new Pannonia inks. Some very interesting. I like this brown. I really like this green, and this gray looks really, really, really nice. Some of these may be too light for my taste, but this one is nice. Look at this. So Pannonia's got a bunch of brand new inks that are out. So anyone who was interested, but they're really beautiful inks, by the way. But anybody who's interested, there you have it. Goldspot's got these new Pannonia inks. What else does Goldspot have? Goldspot also has 2 new offerings from Sailor USA. They've got the Nebraska Red and they've got the Montana Blue. This Montana Blue really looks sharp, and so does this red, frankly. So on the pen front, I thought I mentioned those 2. And that's it for in terms of products. On the paper front, I've got one pad that I'm going to want to look at for you, and that we're going to take a look at in a second once I start inking all of my pens. So we'll be back about a pen product. They're really Amazon pads. When I go to work and I want to use, a legal pad with my fountain pens, I have a bunch of pads at home, of course, but they're very expensive. So I don't want to spend, $30, $40 on one pad, one notepad, to take notes, that most of which goes in the garbage after a while. So I'm looking for more economical notepads. And I always wanted to purchase these Amazon. And I know it's not the best paper, but you'll see in a second. I'm going to ink some pens, and we'll take out that pad and you'll take a look at that. So that's Amazon Basics. It's a pad. You can get, I think, like a dozen of these things for not very much. Now, this paper, it's not the greatest paper, okay? Don't have no illusions. But it serves my purpose. I like this, graph design on my notebooks. And I just wanted to show it to you. For those of you who just want to take notes and don't want to use expensive paper, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So this is the Amazon Basics notepad. And I'm using my Majon medium nib here. So this is with the Majon P139 with that number 8 steel nib. And this is a medium. So with a medium, not bad at all. Okay. This is that Hero pen that I spoke to you about last week, which is much wetter. Hero, what is it, 856 if I'm not mistaken. It is also a medium, but as you can see, it's got a thicker line, almost medium to broad, I would say. And by the way, folks, this is just a great little pen. I can't stress enough. You got to pick it up for 10 bucks. You've got to find it, pick it up, buy it. This is Hero pen and nib. We have to write something. Okay, so that's, then use this, which has got a beautiful Hongdian. So, you know, every thin line gets thicker. And you can only see that, I think, if you're really close up. This is the Hongdian, what is it? 1851. And it's got a number 5 steel medium nib. So you see this paper is holding up. It's not bad. Yes, there's some feathering. And for example, if I use a stub on this, let's take a big stub. But it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I got to tell you, reviewed a lot of paper products in my lifetime. And this is the Asvine. Is it the P20? Is this the P20? Keep forgetting. Oh, this is the only one that doesn't have. Yeah, I think this is the P1. Asvine in this Galaxy Blue. Some feathering. And this is the medium nib. But, you know, there again, I think it does the job, you know. So if anybody's looking for a notebook for everyday use, and yes, the chances are you won't be able to use the other side because it probably just, yeah, there's a little bit going through, but not much. If you use a medium, a fine to broad, you're okay. You're okay. Take a look at that. It's not bad. It's a cheap notebook. You want to practice your handwriting, for example. You know, you don't want to spend, you know, expensive Tomo River paper on that. Amazon Basics. Good choice. Stay tuned for the next segment. Well, as far as YouTube reviews go, well, first of all, there's my review. And I mean, I'm going to review some of them. I might as well, you know, at least advertise or plug my own videos. I published this week the Natami Super Warship. I think it's a fabulous pen, folks. I think you really should take a look at it. Hopefully you enjoyed my video. And I had inked that pen with the new Pelican Edelstein Golden Lapis, which is a nice shimmering ink, and I thought it performed really well. But you know, when I usually buy these pens, I usually use them for the week, and within a week or two, a day or two, the pen clogged. So you know, that shimmering ink with that very fine Natani nib didn't work out for me. But what I did want to show you is I since changed the ink and replaced it with just simple, I believe I put in here, so this is the Natami. I did two things to this pen. First of all, I put some, a Waterman Serenity Blue, which is, a good test ink. And the second thing is that I found those tines a little bit too tight. It just, it almost wrote like an extra fine. And now it's very, very nice. I just put in a shim in there and just kind of pull those tines apart a little bit so the ink flows a little bit better. So there you have it. I wanted to mention that with that golden lapis, not ideal, not an ideal situation. Okay. The other YouTube video that I really wanted to point out is Wet Pen, Matthew. As you know, he's gone to Japan, and he's got a series of 4 videos where he reviews inks that he purchased in Japan. Just a fabulous reviewer. I really recommend it. So shout out to my pal Matthew. He's going to get some new inks. I know he's working on new inks. I'm hoping some very soon. I'm going to snap them up. I've bought 3 of them, or 3 or 4 that he had come out. I think it was 3, all fabulous inks. But he looks at these exclusive Japanese inks, or exclusive to the stores that he visited. Really interesting person. I recommend it. What else we've got? Well, we got Mick L, the Offstage Me. He looked at Endless Alchemy inks. I reviewed those as well, but he does a second look at those inks. So anybody who's thinking about buying Alchemy, you've got at least 2 reviews. You've got mine and you've got Mick L that you can take a look at. Really, really recommend it. He's just a great reviewer. He does a great job on his paper reviews, on his pen reviews, and on his ink reviews. So comes well recommended. Shout out to Mick L. Next, Inquiring Minds. Interesting, he put out a very short video, which followed by a more detailed video of the 9013 Jinal, the smaller version of the 9013, or of the Dadaud series, if you will. And yes, the pen rattled, and he has a solution. I mean, my solution is that as soon as I inked my pen, the 9013 stopped rattling. But for those of you who have the rattle, what he does, I invite you to take a look at that video. What he does is a very simple solution. He puts an O-ring around the converter and then just closes the barrel, and the rattle is gone. So I found that to be a very, very good tip. So shout out to Inquiring Minds. And if you want a detailed review of the 9013, well, he came up with one. I don't think I'm going to do one. I think it's repetitive. The 9013 is just a smaller version of the 9016 and the 9019 without the big, frankly, without the big converter. And it's got a heartbeat nib, but we've seen those heartbeat nibs in the 9016. So I'm not going to do a separate review, but those of you who are interested and would like to see that pen, Inquiring Minds has got a detailed review. There you have it. Okay, so what's next? Well, okay, so we're back for the fountain pen spotlight, and the first thing I'd like to show you is my pen haul for the week. What pens did I receive this week? Well, here they are. Let's just go down to up to my overhead camera. Here they are. They're 3 Ongdian offerings that I've been meaning to take a look at. I was curious. They're not very expensive. I will put up the prices probably on the screen. and I thought I'd share those with you. I think I'm going to do a video that I'm going to call the Ongdian Slims, if you all, because these are all kind of slim pens that we kind of forget about, and I just love Ongdian as a pen maker, and it's just too bad they're not coming out with anything this year. But first of all, this is the 321. It comes in various colors. I really thought this would be kind of a plasticky pen when I ordered it, and it was very, very affordable. There it is. It's got kind of a hooded nib there. Very nice, very comfortable. It's a smallish, slim pen. It posts, not the greatest poster, but it does post. But we will be doing a more detailed review, as I mentioned, of all these three pens. So that is the Ongdian 321. This is the Ongdian 519, which I thought was a very nice pen as well. Take a look at that. Very nice, especially for those of you who want a slim offering. Another hooded nib. I tried this one. Those nibs are really nice, but we will do a more. I thought that just the combination of that gold and the blue, very, very nice. Classy pen. Hey, so a nice slim pen. And this is the Ongdian 525. Really nice as well. Kind of a darker blue. This is a regular number 5 size nib. Also very, very nice offering. We'll do a more detailed review of all these pens. As I mentioned, my idea would be to do a Ongdian slim pen review. So we would review 3, 4, 5 pens at a time. And so that's my pen haul. I mean, I received other pens, but I'm going to reserve that for next week. That way, I've got to keep up here. I can't burn myself out. If I tell you everything I received and then one week I don't receive anything, then I have nothing to show you. So I'm very excited, in fact, of the other receipt pens, and you'll probably get a look at those next week. So those are the 3 pens that I received this week. In terms of my ink haul, inks that I wanted to show you and swatch with you, and then ink up some pens. I have forgotten about, you'll recall I had received this Van Dieman 2023 collection of inks, and I had reviewed already. I had swatched, they have inks for every day, for every month of the year. I did January to April. I did May to August. But I had all forgotten about September, October, November, and December. So I thought I'd do that this week with you. Very nice set, by the way. Van Dieman's, one of my favorite ink companies. And I do have a 10% discount. Use it because I understand that, postal service or deliveries is getting more and more expensive. I know one viewer mentioned that it's costing him more and more money to get some of these, these inks, which is unfortunate. But please use my 10%. At least that will help. So here are the 3 inks, and we will swatch them. I've got September, October, November, and December. So I think this is a kind of a blue-gray. Then I've got an orange, and then I've got kind of a blue-gray or a red, kind of a reddish, purplish blue, and then I've got a red for December. So we will swatch those. So the first one is a blue-gray. I will take out my blue. Actually, this is not blue. Here we go. This is my blue ink journal, all my blue inks. We'll take a brand new one. There we go. Open that up. Oh, is this a shimmering ink? Let me just check. No, it isn't. Okay. Okay. This is my trusty swatcher. This is what I use. I see. Yeah, it's kind of a bluish gray. And I got a feeling that it's just going to get grayer as it dries. So this is Van Dieman. Van Dieman's, and it's the 2023 collection. And this is September. Okay, here we go. Wash that out. Okay, so we will put that aside, let that dry up, and I'll show you that in a second when it dries. The second one, October, is orange, so I got my orange ink journal. These ink journals, by the way, Good Ink Impressions, for those of you who don't know, on Good Ink Impressions on Etsy. Great stuff. Tomoe River. So you get some very, very nice paper for swatching, and you get to put all your different colors, and these things I think are going to last me forever. I mean, I've got quite a few bottles. I got maybe 400. And even then with these will last me until forever and ever, so to speak. Oh, I was expecting an orange, but this is not orange at all. This is kind of a black. Well, that's too bad. I was expecting orange from October, for October, but that's not what we got. Let me just see. Maybe there's some shimmer underneath there that I missed out on. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to swatch that. Kind of more of a blue. So we're going to re-swatch this on my blue. It's kind of a royal blue, purplish black. There we go. We'll let that dry up. Okay, and I just forgot to write out the title of this. So this is very nice. I'm not a fan of these light colored inks, so this darker one is a welcome change, because I think a lot of the inks in this collection are kind of this lighter shades, and this is October. So there we go. Just we will put that aside. Now, this one here should be purplish. So I take out my purple ink journal. And hopefully I've got the right one. It's kind of a bluish purple, but wow, this is a very... Is it a shimmering ink? Let me just shake that. Yes, it is. It's a shimmering ink, so let me get that shimmer up. Yeah, there's very little red there. It's more of a blue. I think it's going to get more, that reddish tint is going to come in as it dries. So this is, oh, I don't think I inked it enough. very light ink. Van Dieman's 2023 collection. And that's November. Wow, really light. Not my favorite. I think these 2023 kind of disappointed me a little bit because they're all these light. I'm not a great, I mentioned I'm not a fan. Let me just wipe that out. I'm not a fan of these light inks. But as you can see, as it dries, it's getting to be a little more purplish. Otherwise, should have probably put that in my blue ink, but I'll do that later. This one is another shimmering ink, so I need to shake it. Okay. Just bear with me here. Okay, this turned out to be red. Well, I was misled again, so we're going to have to redo some of these swatches elsewhere. I was led to believe there would have been more purplish, but no, this is as red as it. Really nice dark red, almost like ox blood, even rider's blood, I would say. Or, yeah, closer to rider's blood, I think. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, that's very nice. Van Dieman's 2023 collection. And this is December. Yeah, this one's okay. Yeah, can't fault it. This one's nice. Okay, there you go. So those are my inks. What do we got? We got them here. The 4 inks kind of dried up on here. Ready? Here we go. There they are. You see the red's coming out of there really nice. It's like a little bit like those Sailor 1, 2, 3, shading inks. Chromo inks, I think they call them. This is kind of a black with some gold, purplish shimmer. But I think my favorite one of all of them is probably this red one. And this black one could do some damage as well. There you have it. So those are the inks. And I'm spilling my hands all over the place. Okay. There we go. So those are the inks. What we're going to do next is we're going to ink some pens up with some of those inks anyway. And I'm going to show you the 4-pen resurrection. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back for the 4-pen resurrection. My God, this is such a fun thing to do, folks. If you have a big collection, and, we'll talk about, what seems to be in the news these days is how do we cut down on our pens, if you will, or, how do we, start selling some of our pens, getting rid of some of our pens, reducing our collections. And I'll get to that in a second. But you know what? The 4-pen resurrection, I think, was great for me because it allows me to share with you, the audience. Oh, let me just get rid of this. Yeah. Share with you, the audience, my collection. But I think what's really fun about this is that I'm pulling out pens. As I mentioned, I have about 400 pens, and that I haven't used in, 3, 4, 5 years. And a lot of the ones that we will be reviewing or looking at in a few minutes are exactly that. They're pens that I've kind of forgotten about. And this segment allows me to pull those pens out and relive them But years later, after all the baggage of experience and all the changing tastes, and some of these pens I bought early on as a collector, and today obviously one evolves, or the tastes evolve, and so it's a lot of fun. So for those of you who are joining me for the first time, that's what we're going to be doing here. So let's go to my overhead camera. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention is that those inks were really stubborn, those Van Dieman inks. I use this product, by the way. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. I know I've reviewed this before, but it's Lava Heavy Duty Hand Cleaner, Pumice powered. By the way, it also smells nice. I think this is what most mechanics use. And normally speaking, washing my hands with this soap, I bought about 6, 7, 8 bars. They're going to last me forever from Amazon. Does the trick. But let me tell you, that red ink was really stubborn. Hard to get out. I'm wondering if they're like waterproof inks. The black ink too, look at that. It's still there. And I really rubbed hard. So there you go. Those inks were very stubborn. Okay, let's take a look at these pens one at a time. And by the way, I didn't use all the inks of the Van Dieman inks, just because I think 2 out of the 4 I didn't really like. The first pen I want to show you, this is the Laban Mento. Very, very nice pen. Girthy, probably the same size or very similar to the Dadao 9019 or even the Mont Blanc 149. And this one has a Laban broad nib. So first one is Laban Mento Tortoise brown. This, by the way, is that red ink, the December of Van Dieman's. Very nice. The nib is a Laban branded. I think they use, this looks suspiciously like a Bach nib. Laban branded broad nib. Very nice. The ink is the Van Dieman's (2023) December. So that's the first pen. Very nice. It's going into my rotation for this week. Second pen is this from Rosetta Coronado. Again, a very bulky and a nice big pen. Very similar to the Mento, as a matter of fact. Got some very nice crushed ice, sort of a resin. Nice finial. That's the Rosetta logo, if you will. So, and this has got a 1.5 Rosetta stub. Oh, okay, here we go. Rosetta Coronado. The nib is, this is Iowo. 1.5 stub. Very nice. And I think the ink, it's not one of the Van Dieman inks. I think this ink is probably Sailor Blue, because of that red sheen. Here we go. Just a straight Sailor standard blue ink. The next pen is this Mnemosyne Singularity. I hadn't used this in ages, and Mnemosyne used to make really, really nice nibs. And we'll test this one. I think it's a stub. Yeah. Small stub, but nonetheless a stub. So let me just push that forward a bit. Here we go. So this is the Mnemosyne, or
scene. Singularity. The nib is a Mnemosyne. I think this is a 0.09 stub. And the ink that I put in this pen is that Van Dieman's (2023) October. That's that ink that we just looked at. And lastly, I don't know why I haven't been using this pen. It's one of my favorites too. Just kind of forgot about it. This is the Nettuno 1911. One of my grail pens, in fact. Just because I needed to have a Nettuno. Very, very nice. I mean, this is, Delta, Nettuno, and Mayora. It's all Nino Marino. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful pen. Now, that's right. I haven't used this. I think it's already inked. Yeah. I haven't used this in a while. Let me just kind of push out some ink here so that I can get it going. Because this thing has probably been in my drawers for at least 6 months. So this is the Nettuno 1911. What do they call it? The black Truffaut. Truffaut. Truffaut edition. It's got a 1.5 stub, steel stub. And the ink, I have no idea, but it's probably Hiroshizuko. What is it, Takesami, or forget now, I don't have it in front of me, but something, or Takesumi, I forget now. But it's that beautiful black ink. So there you have it. Those are my four pens for the week that, frankly, are going to go in my rotation this week because these are pens that I should not have forgotten about. They write very, very nicely. No reason not to use any of them. So there you have my 4-pen resurrection for the week. Okay, so I'm back. Another part of my spotlight I think that I wanted to cover this week, and I had promised one of my viewers that I would. And he was inquiring about what kind of nibs Delta was using way back when, before it kind of went out of business and before it was resurrected by Nino Marino. And I told him I had in my collection, this is just a sampling of my Delta pens. I had 2 types of nibs. The first type of nib was this one. And this is kind of a Delta. Let me just see if I could bring that up nice and close. Yeah, here we go. That's just a Delta straight nib. This is, I think, the steel version. Yeah, this is the steel. So that's one of the nibs. It's a stub because early on, and this is in my Delta journal. Okay, very nice pen, by the way, and I think they've inspired, this inspired Leonardo Momento Zero for sure. Then I have the second journal, Delta journal, I have in this kind of gray swirl. I believe this had this is the gold version of that same nib. The other one was a steel. This one is a gold version. This one's a broad. The other one was a stub. Very nice nibs. Very, very nice. We'll do some writing with them in a second. Then on this iconic, I think they call it, or icon. It's one of their lower priced. These are those fusion nibs that the viewer was asking about. You could see that there's two layers to it. The gold is supposed to kind of warm up the steel underneath to increase flow. And that's a nice stub nib, gold. And we'll try it out. Hopefully, I haven't used these pens in a while. Hopefully, that'll all work out. This is what probably the lowest priced Delta that I have in my collection before the Intesa that's just come out recently. And they call this one the Virtuosa, which is not bad. I regret it because it's white, but that's that same Delta Fusion nib at a number 5 with a stub. Yeah, so they had it in number 5 and in number 6. And then, of course, I have my Delta Lex. This is, shout out to my profession, the law profession. This one, I haven't inked this one in a while, but this is definitely one of my Grail pens. And it does have a beautiful Fusion gold stub nib. You can actually see the S there. Because early on, that's all I had. All I had was stubs. This is one of the first pens. It's my front page on my website. Yeah, very nice. Means a lot to me, this pen. Okay, the next one is the Amalfi Magnifica, which I've reviewed. By the way, most of these pens I've reviewed, so you can look them up. And this one's got a nice Fusion broad nib, gold nib. There you have it. Well, just for a second, let me just try these things out just to show you how these pens write. Especially a viewer who was interested in the Fusion nibs. Well, this is the Fusion. So this is the Amalfi. Now, look at this. I haven't used this pen in months. So this is the Amalfi with the Fusion nib, 18 karat. Okay, and not a problem. Very, very nice. Does it have any spring in it? Not really. It's a fairly stiff nib, but very wet and very, 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 very juicy. This is the stub version. Let me see if this writes. This is the, well, not bad for months. Delta Lex. This is the Fusion 18 karat. I mean, it's skipping because it's dried up. But otherwise, this is just, it's dried up. I haven't used this in months. But there you have it. And in that normal nibs, that's the gold version. This is is it right? Not really, eh? Nah. Well, again, I haven't used this in quite a bit. Let me just kind of prime it a bit. Do this quickly for you. I don't want to waste more of your time. So this is, inked myself up. Delta. And this is a standard nib. Yeah, it's a little too wet now. Standard. This is a broad. But again, very, 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 very wet. Beautiful nibs. Well, that soap is going to come in handy. I just made another mess. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to show my viewer. He was very curious about seeing what kind of nibs Delta had before it went out of business. And now they have Yowo, which is unfortunate. Hopefully, hopefully they will develop their own in-house nibs again. It'd be really nice. Or get some nibmeisters to kind of play around their nibs, just like they do for Mayora. So there you have it. That's the Delta nibs that I wanted to show, is in particular that viewer. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I think I've been unfair to this thing, which is the Jinao 80. And, you know, I didn't like this pen because I thought it was a little bit plasticky, but I think anybody who commented on the Jinao 80 or on my comments of last week were all unanimous that this is a great little pen for the price. And it has that Lamy Safari type nib. And they all suggested that I replace it, okay, with a Lamy, with Lamy nibs. And so I did. And in one case, I put in a nice Lamy stub. And this is a second, I bought 2 of these. And this one has the extra fine and the other one has the Lamy stub. So, you know what? I agree. It's not as bad as I originally made it out to be. So there you have it. I thought I'd mention that my viewers were not happy with my comments. There you have it. Okay, so that's for some of the pen spotlights and some of the inks. And next, I've got some personal notes and maybe a short editorial for you. Be right back. Okay, for some of my personal notes, first of all, thank you very much to all those viewers who recommended to me some vintage pens. I think that's the next challenge, or in terms of a hunt, because there's always that thrill for the hunt, is to try to get some vintage nibs, do some reading, experimenting. A couple of viewers have really gotten into trying to recommend things to me, and we're going to be in touch, at least with 2 fellows, I think 2 fellows from Denmark, if I'm not mistaken, and they help me out in terms of choice. In the meantime, I've gone out on my own and kind of, let's take the jump, and I wanted to show you what I've ordered to date. Okay, the first one, and some of you can tell me, no, Vincent, you made a mistake, or you're on the right track. Let me know, okay? So what have I got here to propose? Well, okay, let me just go to Katawiki. This is the pen I ordered for 122 euros. So I'm not sure I got ripped off or not. It's the Waterman 52. They call it the 52.5 clip cap. So I'm hoping that this thing works out for me. Some of you have told me be careful with Katawiki, which is a auction sort of a site, because sometimes the pens are not in good condition. I think this one was in good. I mean, look at what it cost in terms of shipping. So it's 122. By the time it gets to my house, it's 175. So I'm really hoping that this doesn't, turn out to be a total disaster. It looks interesting. It looks like it's in good condition. So I'm hoping that that works out. The other one that I ordered, and that I did receive, by the way, is this Omas. And 206, maybe overpaid. But I did want an Omas with 12 sides. Very nice. I got to tell you, that nib, really, really nice. It's the Omas Extra. It's kind of a vintage, 1980s, early 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not 40s or 50s. But it's a really, really nice pen. Really writes well. One of my best fine nibs, 18 karat, that I have in my collection. So those are the two vintage pens that I've gotten so far. And keep going. If you got other suggestions for me, please let me know, and I will oblige. Now, next thing, in terms of an editorial, 2 things that I wanted to discuss. What seems to be à la mode, as they say, or trendy in the videos are, reducing our collections, or, if I would reduce everything to the last 10 pens. I think it started, one of the hot takes in Drew from Goulet Pen, one of his podcasts. And a lot of people are, suggesting that, Drew himself says he has a 70 pen collection and he has no intention of reducing per se. What he's going to do is going to partition He's going to take pens that are really collector type pens that he wants to put aside, and then the pens that he uses on a regular basis. So he's more going to do more of a cataloging or a division or a partition than getting rid of his pens. He then, Brian Goulet gave his opinion. What I found interesting is that he runs a retail fountain pen or pen and stationery store, so it's not surprising. But he has 1,200 pens in his collection. And he doesn't call himself a collector, more an acquirer. And a lot of those pens are kind of archive pens. All the pens, he was talking about his Pilot pen collection, where he's kind of, collected over the years all the Pilot, I think it was Pilot that he mentioned. But at the end of the day, all these pens, he's got maybe 50 that he kind of uses on a regular basis, and maybe even less than that. Personally, I don't intend to reduce my collection or sell any of my pens. What I'm doing is the 4-pen or 3-pen resurrection. So what I'm doing is that I'm resurrecting all these pens that I haven't used for months and months and months, and I find like it's like as if I'm ordering them brand new, and seeing how they kind of fit into my modern or more today's tastes, etc., putting in some fresh inks and using them, and then putting them back, and then take out another 4 and put them in my rotation. Some of them I think will remain in my rotation because I want to keep writing with them, and others were kind of put aside again and replaced by another 4. The next topic that I wanted to cover with you is depression and journaling. I found it very interesting that, Hemingway Jones has kind of been very, very honest with his audience, and he's come out and admitted that he's had some struggles with minor depression, and spring for him is not a great time, especially around birthdays. His birthday, which is I think May 15th or mid-May. And he talked about, minor, just flirting with depression and spring depression. I think I go through the same thing, frankly. Spring is not a great time for me. I think autumn and summer is much better. And thank God for golf, because golf gets me out of my funk. So come May and June, I'm already out of it, if you will. And what I found interesting is that some people say that journaling can help with that catharsis sort of reaction. Just write out your thoughts and think things through, and etc., etc. I found that lately it has kind of the opposite effect for me. The reason being that I was using this 5-year journal to kind of, describe my days, where you have very little, you have 4 lines per day. And I found myself only repeating all the bad stuff. And it was just getting more depressing, if you know what I mean. And I said to him, what am I doing? I'm just depressing. It's just very depressing thoughts, Oh, today was a bad day. Today was a bad day. Today. And once in a while you have a good day, right? And you don't have enough room to kind of go through that catharsis journaling where you think, you're thinking things out, if you will. You start with the negative and then just keep writing and writing and writing. And then at the end, you're kind of, turning a negative into a positive. So I'm getting rid of that 5-year journal. It's no longer, I think I mentioned this, it's no longer part of my journaling. If I'm going to journal myself out of depression or a bad day, I need room. I need to write a little more than just 5 lines. But I thought I'd share that little tidbit with you. So that 5-year journal that cost me $100 Canadian, I think, Albanici, as I mentioned, it's become my YouTube kind of a journal where I take notes of, how many subscribers per day, how many views per day, and I kind of see my progress, that sort of thing. And I mentioned, what videos went up on a certain day, a certain week. So that's which is a positive thing for me. So that journal, I've transcribed it. No longer am I describing my days. And if I'm going to journal myself out of bad days, I need a full page, if not more. So there you have it. So
That's it for my editorial. That's it for my weekly recap. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm trying to mix things up a little bit for you. Hopefully I was within that 1 hour limit. We'll see when I edit. And, folks, have a great week. Enjoy. In terms of videos that I have for you this week, I will probably publish that Italian Capodimonte Gioia pen that I've finished reviewing and that I will be publishing. And maybe I'll also publish that Ongdian Slim idea, where all of my slim pens will be reviewed all at once. So stay tuned for that. Thank you very much. Grazie molto. Arrivederci. A fra poco. See you soon.